This is specifically going to be a walkthrough designed for someone who wants to get a good start with an astrologer playing a mage. We're going to, focus on sorceries and also get the Moonveil Katana and the Darkmoon Greatsword, and you utilize those weapons. So, if that interests you, let's get started. First, I'm going to pick a name for myself. Kira. We're going to pick the Golden Seed as our keepsake because that'll get us extra healing on our flasks. I'm going to load a appearance that I already have saved. And we're ready to go. So this is going to be a playthrough. We're going to try to use summons as sparingly as possible on the main bosses. We're going to be less concerned about avoiding summons, out in the world or, in catacombs and caves.
The great Elden Ring was shattered.
This also isn't really a playthrough that's going to be concerned with getting every last little mundane item out in the world, like every smithing stone or every random, little bolts or arrows. It is going to get every sorcery, incantation, talisman, weapon, stone sword key, everything that matters we're going to collect. But we're not going to go out of our way to get every last little, irrelevant consumable.
In the night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was first to perish.
But yeah, the idea is you will finish this walkthrough with, owning every weapon, having every armor set. With the exception of things that you have to farm, but I will tell you where you have to go to farm specific things as it comes up. And I'm also would strongly encourage you to do your own playthrough. This is more for someone who has already done a playthrough and wants to see what you missed quest-wise, because this walkthrough is also going to make sure it doesn't mess up any of the quests. You're going to get to see the maximum amount of interactions with the NPCs.
From which no lord arose. A war leading to abandonment by the greater will.
I'm going to go ahead and skip the rest of this cutscene. And again, I'm not really going to explain the basics of the game. I'm sort of assuming that by the time you come here, you know what the controls are. Cool view. Got ray tracing turned on, PS5 Pro. Here we're gonna get jumped. And killed it. Which of course is what's supposed to happen.
Don't worry, Torrent. Fortune is on her side. We found her here after all. One of her kind is sure to seek the Elden Ring. Even if it does violate the Golden Order.
I will in general let cutscenes play. I know I skipped the opening one, but I will probably I won't necessarily let all dialogue voice lines play out, just so that you're not stuck listening, because when you're doing it in your own playthrough, you can obviously listen to all the dialogue on your own. And if you're here, you're just here to see paths to things. So these are our flasks. You can talk to ghosts in the world, and they'll have lore or messages for you. This is the Cave of Knowledge. It's the tutorial cave. So we're going to blitz through it. And then a reminder that Sites of Grace are fast travel points, effectively. If you're not in combat, you can go to any particular one. We're going to use our golden seed right up front to get an extra flask charge. R1 uses the thing in your right hand. It'll be a light attack for a normal weapon. Use your spell for a mage. L1 does what's in your left hand. In our case, we have a shield, so it will block, assuming that we have the stamina to do so. Circle is how you roll. If you hold it down, you'll sprint. X is jump. You can pick up things in the world or interact by pressing triangle. R2 is how you do a heavy attack, and if you hold it down, it'll be a charged heavy. If you have a real weapon and not just a lame staff. Remember, you always want to lock on with R3, at least for little enemies. And we already killed this guy when we shot him from the ground. L2 is how you use your skill. We use the skill on your left-hand weapon. You can do triangle and R1 if you want to two-hand, or triangle and L1 if you want to two-hand the left hand, and then triangle and R1 again to go back to one-handing. We're out of mana. Pop another potion. We also have a sword. So when you're getting kind of low on mana, you can switch to the sword. If you get behind an enemy, you can hit the light attack button to critical hit them. And this is saying we can stance break with a charge. The charged heavy. Stakes of Marika are, if you die, you can respawn at the stake instead of at the grace. He's very vulnerable to Whetstone Pebbles, so you can just annihilate him. If you have a shield, he's very vulnerable to guard counter, which was what it was telling you. You basically hit L1, hold down L1 for your shield, and then hit R2 the minute he bounces off of the shield. And you'll guard counter him and just wreck him. So we have the Stranded Graveyard Grace right here. That is the Fringe Folk Heroes Grave. It's a higher level area. It has some good loot in it. You have to, when you see that white fog, it means you need a stone sword key. And we do not have any stone sword keys. So you'll see I'll try to use it and fail. So we're going to come back to this much later. We're going to basically do it as like the last thing we do in Limgrave. These are related to PvP. That's for co-op. The Tarnished Finger, you can make a summon sign and someone can bring you into their world. The Finger Severer is how you escape. You use it to get back to your own world. If you're done, or if the person AFKs, or you just don't want to be there anymore, that's how you get away. Here we are in Limgrave. This is the first step, Grace. Now what the game is telling you is that the main storyline shows you where to go on the map. You see this line, it's pointing that this way, so it's indicating you should head this way. But in general, this is an open world game with a huge amount to do, and we're gonna level up and get other things before we, follow the main storyline.
Oh, yes. Come to the lands between, for of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, without guidance, without the strength of you are fated. It's luckily.
Always
for you,
exhaust all
however,
dialogue.
me.
Wait till they repeat themselves.
Are you familiar with grace?
This is White Mask
The
Varre.
golden, you may also behold its golden ray. That is the guidance. Indeed, it will lead you, Tarnished, even if it leads you. Grace's guide to castles, the home of the decrepit. It's time you to castles if you see.
So he's telling us get to Stormvale. You can send your summoning or your co-op sign to summoning pools, and then people can bring you in. You can either use nearby summoning pools only, or go to both near and far. That guy up there on the horse is bad news. We're going to avoid him and just head for that church instead. So we're going to kind of go around. This is the church of Elleh. The game's now talking about how we can fast travel. So if I bring up the map, I just put it on the grace that I want to jump to, and I can go there, as long as I'm not in combat. There are two types of weapons, normal weapons and special weapons. The normal ones are upgraded with smithing stones, and the special ones are upgraded with somber smithing stones.
You're a Tarnished. I can also say that you're not after.
This is Kale the merchant.
I am Kale. You know,
So you can ask him what we should get, and he'll say a crafting kit.
I am of a nomad selling wares as the land has been tainted by madness. It's only Tarnished. Let's say you're a...
Right outside was a golden rune we could get that would give us a little bit of rune, so you can sell those to the merchant.
What is it?
So we can start by buying that crafting kit that you recommended. And then I would also get a torch.
I'm glad you took my... You've made an excellent...
So item crafting is just here. So we start off being able to just craft kind of, you know, not much. You could make fire pots to throw, rainbow stones that you can put on the ground to mark your way, stuff like that. And we're going to get cookbooks that will enhance what we can craft. So we're going to put the torch in our left hand. You hit the left arrow to switch between left hand weapons and the right arrow to go between right hands, so I can switch between my staff and my sword on the right and my shield and my torch on the left. Now from here, we're going to eventually buy the cookbooks that he sells, but we don't have enough runes yet. So we're going to now head out of the church and go north to a place called Gatefront. If you look at the map, these little markers here are where maps are. It's when you see those little kind of pillars on the map, they're an indication that, hey, go here. If you get the map that's by that pillar, then you will be able to see a lot more details and have the map filled in. If we want, we can kind of kill things on the way here if we want. No, we don't want to run right in here. That's the Gatefront ruins. We're going to go off here to the side and head for this grace.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord. Have you heard of the Finger Maidens? They serve the Two Fingers, offering guidance and aid to the Tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless. I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erdtree. Then it's settled. Summon me by grace to turn runes into strength. Ah, another matter. I bequeath to you this ring.
So this gives us Torrent.
It will summon a spectral steed named Torrent. Torrent has chosen you. Treat him with respect.
We're going to pass time until daytime. There are nighttime bosses in this game, and when we're really weak like this, we don't want to encounter them yet because we want to do them later. So in general, you can rest at a grace and make it daytime. So we can bind Torrent to a particular pouch slots. I'm going to put him on right. So that means I hit triangle and hold down triangle and hit right, and that brings up Torrent. Just like that. So there's a few pieces of loot to get in these ruins. There's some loot in this wagon. The Lordsworn's Greatsword. Lordsworn's Greatsword. And then of course we wanted our map marker. If you run through a marker that you put on the map for yourself, that'll cause it to go away. So just to get out of the way here, so we're not in combat. Now here's a map of West Limgrave. So Stormveil Castle's up here, that's where the first major boss is going to be. This is Agheel Lake. This is Mistwood over here in East Limgrave. And then down here is Weeping Peninsula, which is a whole other area of its own, which you could think of as southern Limgrave, I suppose. Over here is Liurnia. And then this over to the east is going to be Kale. Now, in general, we are going to avoid going into Liurnia because there are 3 or so quests that will resolve and advance early, and you'll miss out on some dialogue and quest stuff if you go to Liurnia too fast. This does mean we will be weaker than other playthroughs you might see, where people rush all over the map and get all their upgrades, you know, so that they can one-shot bosses, and we're not going to be doing that in this playthrough, so we're very much going to try to maximize all of the lore and all of the interactions with NPCs and quests. So if that interests you, then stick around, because that's what this walkthrough is all about. Gets us the Flail. Now the one other place that we need to get is down the stairs here. That's the commander there, or sorry, right there. You want to avoid him. He's scary. Just use mana flask when you run out of mana. Or sorry, FP is what this game calls it. So our goal is just to get into that stairwell to the right there. So we're gonna get the wolf just to be safe. Looks like we pulled some other guys. Get them. If you wait for this guy to not have his shield up, you won't have to waste as much mana. We did not do that, we just went ahead and hit him with 4. That card's forgotten about us, so we're just gonna go down here. Whenever you're in a little bit of a dark place, you can always bring out the torch. Remember, it's left arrow on the D-pad to switch left hand, what you're holding in the left hand. So, now we are capable of adding Ashes of War to normal weapons. So this allows you to customize the weapon art that is used when you hit L2. And that's what the iron whetblade did. Or knife, rather. And now from here, we can just go back to the Grace. And we also got an Ash of War there. So next up we're gonna go get the Agheel Lake North Grace. So just right over here. So to cover stats really quickly, Vigor is hit points, health, Mind gives you more mana, or FP, Endurance gives you more stamina, which is spent when you use, you know, weapon attacks or roll or sprint. Then the rest are damage stats, effectively, depending on what your playstyle is going to be. Since we're a mage, intelligence is the stat we care about. Strength would be like big bonk, two-handed weapons, dexterity's, you know, light, fast, stabby weapons like rapiers. Faith is incantations, intelligence is sorceries. So faith is like, you know, cleric in D&D, intelligence is like wizard in D&D. And then arcane's kind of a weird, unique stat. It boosts item discovery, and then you also have basically weapons that can be like dex and arcane, or you have incantations that can be faith and arcane.
Oi! You there? Could you help us out, Cully?
So you see this bush here. There's a guy hiding here. This is Bach the Seamster.
Oh, some clod turned me into a tree. You were just breaking this. Thank you. I was pushed out of the cave and I ended up. Lucky you came along. Oh, when they threw me, so this is all I.
So he needs help getting his stuff back because he's gonna go try to do it on his own. Talks about sneaking back in.
Right, but I'm.
So what we're gonna do now is warp back to the church, and we're gonna meet Ranni, who's going to give us our spirit ashes, which we can use as summons
This way,
to help fight
Tarnished.
enemies for
May
us.
I have a word? A pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished. I am the witch Ranni. I'd heard tell of a Tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed, and upon looking into the matter, the talk, I surmise, is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no, to call forth a spectral steed named Torrent. Ah,
So you say
as I
you
had
can do it?
hoped, I was entrusted this for thee by Torrent's former master. 'Tis a bell for calling forth spirits, summon them with it. From ash and return to the Erdtree, the spirits will obey thine command but briefly. As they recall battles past, now it is thine, to do with as thou wishest.
So we're gonna bind that. I'm gonna put that on the left. It's our wolf ashes. That summons 3 wolves, but you're gonna get all sorts of ashes throughout the game.
Forgive my intrusion, Tarnished. I doubt we shall again meet. But all the same, learn well the lands between. How long will it be, I wonder, before the Tarnished tire of obeisance to the 2 fingers?
And she leaves. We can rest and make it daytime again. We can also talk to Melina here.
This tiny golden aura is the grace of the Erdtree. This light once shone in the eyes of your tarnished brethren, but now it is all that guides you. Also, I hear you can see them, can't you? The rays of grace that guide you through your burden. Upon the cliff in Castle Stormvale is a shard-bearer, a demigod, who inherited a fragment of the shattered Elden Ring. If the rays of grace signal the castle, then the Elden Ring beckons you. As an ally by pact, I pray that you are fit to face the challenge presented by the ring.
We can talk to Kale to get a little more lore.
Wait. Well, you're back. There are others of my people who, if the mood takes you when you meet one, my people. Wanderers all have long been spurned by which is why we cannot settle. But thanks to that, things are not so different for us now. I think this makes us kindreds, your people, the Tarnished, and mine.
See, we got enough to get one of the cookbooks. So we still need the other cookbook, and we'll want the cracked pots as well.
Goodbye.
And then he has a little bit more to talk.
What is it? Perhaps you don't need to hear. See that no harm comes to my kin. We have a saying, we wanderers. Lament not your solitude. Expect no sympathy, no regard. Nothing but, if anyone dares harm, that is our code, just the way we are. Goodbye.
So now from here, go back to Agheel Lake North. And we're going to rest at Disgrace to talk to Melina again.
Me? I'm searching for my purpose, given to me by my mother inside the Erdtree, long ago, for the reason that I yet live, burned and bodiless. There is something for which I must apologize. I've acted the Finger Maiden. I am no maiden. My purpose was long ago lost.
We're going to pass time until noon, since there's a nighttime boss on the bridge that we're headed to next. So we're basically headed to this bridge. There's like a bug ball that will drop an Ash of War for us that we're going to kill right over there. On the way, you'll see this telescope. You can use this to like just stare through all of Limgrave, basically. Pretty neat. You can zoom in and out, pan around. So that ball right there is what we want. We get Ash of War Determination. Now we're going to race across the bridge here, and then follow the road to the north. You can just tap circle to get torrent sprinting. You don't have to hold it down like when you're running. So we're headed for the Mistwood, and we're going to stop at the Mistwood Outskirts Grace. Next we're going to go for the map of East Limgrave, which is right here. There's going to be a cookbook as well right there. See that symbol halfway down the screen on the left hand side of my screen? That indicates I'm allowed to summon my wolves here. This place is full of great big bears who we do not want to run into. So we get our map, and then over here, there's a bear scratching that we don't want to make mad, so we're just going to leave. And next we're going up to where this big tree is, minor Erdtree. You can hit the red balls to get healing flasks back, and the blue balls to get back FP. The tiers that we just picked up are for something called the Flask of Wondrous Physic. It's a special single-use flask, and you choose which 2 tiers to use, and they all have different effects. So we don't have our flask yet, but once we get it, we will then be able to like put those 2 tiers into it. Here's another ball that offers up an Ash of War. That's the Ash of War Ground Slam. So now we're going to go around to the tree. And we're gonna get ourselves a grace here by descending down into the underground Siofra River well. We're not actually going to do this underground part yet, because it's massive, but we're going to get the grace. And now you get ready for like a 45-second long elevator ride. It's pretty spectacular. But it does take a very long time to get down. But by unlocking this now, we won't have to repeat this elevator ride. Now from here, we can now see our map. We can hit R3 to go toggle between upstairs and downstairs. We're gonna go back to Mistwood Outskirts. And now we're headed for Mistwood Ruins right there. Get rid of the first not sure where I left the first marker. Was it by the bridge? Yeah. Alright. Gotta keep the map clean. So as you approach the ruins here, you can hear howling. If you look, there's a actual guy up there on top of that pillar. You can see him up there. So we need to find a way to bring him down, which we will do. Get a smithing stone 2 here. Oh no. I did not mean to do that. We'll just go down. We can't get down here. That gets us the Axe Talisman. So now we can go back to Kale at the Church of Elleh. You can ask him about that howling.
Wait. Well, you're back. The howl of a wolf. I suppose he must still be skulking about. I know. Why not meet him next time you hear the wolf's howl? Make this signal. Don't fret. I just have an ink.
So he gives us the finger snap, which is a gesture.
For now.
So you can just over here where we mapped our pouch, you can also map gestures. So we're gonna switch rallying cry out for finger snap, just to show it. So we're gonna do that, and it'll get him to come down. So we're gonna head back to Mistwood Outskirts. Oh, we still have our marker, good. So you saw that giant bear that I woke up. If you actually are more careful and tiptoe, you won't actually he won't actually wake up. Since that bear is on us, I'm gonna go over here and get another item. We're gonna get a sacrificial twig. It's just right here, just to the west of just to the west of the Mistwood ruins. Sacrificial Twig is you can equip a talisman, and that will if you die, your runes won't be lost. So we can come right over here. Do our finger snap. He'll come leaping down. We can talk to him.
Who goes there? Kale sent you, did he?
He's very tall.
Busybody. Maybe to him you don't seem so strange. The name's Blythe. I'm looking for a man who goes by Darrow. He fled somewhere nearby. Or so I've heard. Come tell me if you find him before I can offer you ample reward. Darrow is nothing but a traitor, and in need of a fitting end to his tale. Darrow is in need of...
So now that we've got that taken care of, gonna go back here to the road, head south, clear our marker. So this is indicating that there's a merchant up here. So just to show that.
Welcome, dear customer. Yes, right this way. Well, Kale, please. I'm hungry.
So he has 2 more cookbooks. So just when we have, you know, when we can spare currency, we can get that. And down here is Fort Haight. We can talk to a ghost here. Talking about the night bedeviled by blood, and where are you, Kenneth? So you can see the fort up there. We're just going to this grace right here. And we're going to rest. Now we're not doing the fort yet, but we're just gonna like blitz through. There's a golden seed if you loop up around and go to the right, so we're gonna grab that. You can see it there. There's a lot of enemies here, so just be cautious. Now from here, we're going to get a grace that's about there, the Agheel Lake South grace. And on the way there, we're going to hit up these coffins. When you see rows of coffins like this, there are a bunch of golden runes you can just pick up, so it's like free experience. And these wolves are very slow to figure out that they should be angry at you, so you've got plenty of time. And they get confused by the layout as well, which is funny. Alright, now we just move on. Showing you where we are. When you get in a spirit spring, you can actually jump, and you will be sent hurtling into the air. You can also similarly jump down into a spirit spring, and you won't die no matter how far you fall. Just gonna get this grace. This is the Agheel Lake South grace. because we got another charge. Good. Before we actually fight this guy, we want to fix how our flask charges are allocated, because we need a lot of mana, because we don't do a lot of damage yet. I think 3 and 3 will be the correct allocation for this. So we're headed here. So whenever you see these kinds of these worms made of spheres, that's how you know there's an Everjail. And an Everjail is sort of like an instanced arena that you go into to fight a boss. You're not allowed to use your Spirit Ash summons, but sometimes there are NPCs that will help you. In this case, we're going after Darawil, the guy that Blythe wanted to kill. So you'll see a gold summon sign on the ground for that. So we're going to wait for him to come into the world, so be sure he's around.
Darawil. Rotting in a cell is no true justice. No.
Now the goal is
This
to
is
let,
where it ends for you.
because we're very underleveled for this, so the goal is to let Blythe do all the work. When you walk forward towards this blue area, the boss will spawn. He's very, very good at dodging. So you kind of want to catch him. If you hear that sound, it means that Blythe immobilized him. Or that he got Blythe, maybe, I'm not sure. In general, you just can kind of roll backwards. The life of a mage. Most people roll towards, but you can roll away if you're casting spells. We need mana now, so we're going to need a mana potion. Again, just keep rolling away. This is a pretty hard fight, but you've just got to let Blythe do the work. There you go. And that will get you Bloodhound's Fang, which, you know, as a mage we don't care about, but it's a fantastic weapon for dex, or even strength starting out. You hold down L2 and then, or you hit L2 and you'll do a hit and leap away, and then you hit R2 and you'll leap back in. So it's very effective at getting away from boss attacks while still doing damage.
Right. There you are. I had to work for it, but it's done. Don't say I'm not a man of my word. Here's your prize.
That gets us a Somber Smithing Stone 2. Now from here, we're going to go to the edge of the cliff, and we're going to go down, find a way down. We're going to get the large club weapon, which is down here. Just kind of avoid the demi-humans. It'll be up here in a raised section, you can see it up there. And then just keep going. Or get stuck in branches, and now there's a spirit spring. So remember, you can get in this and then jump. That gets us away from everything. I'm still in combat, but I'm going to take us back to the Mistwood Outskirts. Grace when I get a chance. Now from here, we're going to go talk to Kenneth Haight, who wants us to take his fort back. You can hear him. Hello.
Someone who might be interested in rescuing the great Kenneth Haight, servant to the true order and celebrated repudiator of the false.
Ah, you've come. Well, that's... No.
No, the hell. Despite appearances, no, you might have heard of me. Kenneth Haight, young Tarnished. I want you to take back a Knight Commander from Stormvale took it. Huff! What are you waiting? My fort lies to the south.
So he wants you to take back his fort.
The celebrations. I would take that depraved lot are obsessed with sacrificing Tarnished like you for the sake of.
So he's talking about Godrick the Grafted, the ruler of Stormvale Castle.
Amongst the women folk to flee the capital, then hid from Radahn in that castle. Then he insulted Melina, lost to her in battle, only to lick her boots rather than die like a man. Has he no shame? And to think, he's the blood of Godfrey, last of the golden lineage. I hope. What are you waiting? My fort.
And then from there, we're headed over to get a cookbook. That's over here. And it's annoyingly awkward to get, because you have to get up. There we go. And then you can also collect the golden runes that are around here. Alright, and then from here, we're going to head for the Third Church of America. That is right here. And that will be where we stop for this session. Before we walk into the church, I'm going to run over here and get an Ash of War Sacred Blade. See it right there. That's a fantastic Ash. Undead are vulnerable to holy damage, and it keeps them from trying to resurrect. So you can put that on something and use it when you're in like catacombs with skeletons and stuff. So here in this church we get a sacred tear. The Crimson Crystal Tear, sorry, not a sacred one, and the Flask of Wondrous Physic. Oh, there is a sacred tear too. And then there's some dialogue with Melina that we will do, and then we will be done.
Spoken echoes linger here. Words of Queen Ma. If you wish, I will share them with. Very well, my lord, and thy warriors. I divest each of thee of thy grace. With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the lands between. Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die. Well, perhaps that might serve you in lieu of a maiden's guidance.
Alright, we will continue to explore Limgrave in the next play session. So until then, see you next time.